Right, I'm delighted to be joined in the downtown den today by Ian Ambrose, who's the Managing Director of Space Modular, also a Director of Downtown Partners Shape Engineering. Maybe got that wrong then, Ian. Great to see you this morning, mate. And let me, before we talk about modular housing, which is what I really want to get into today, ask you how the company's been performing and how it's found the lockdown over the last 10, 11 weeks.
To be honest, we've done real well out of it, in all honesty. When we first set Shape Engineering up, we were very tech driven, and we've got offices in Milton Keynes now, and we've got an office in Seville. So staff remotely logging into our systems and working from home is not anything unusual to us, to be honest. So it's more of your workforce adapting to it, from the guys who aren't really used to working from home, just settling in. But I think once you get the first week out of the way, I know a few of them started to get tans from getting the fridge light, getting that much food out the fridge to put on a bit of weight. But apart from that, yeah, it hasn't really changed, to be honest, from our way of working.
And as you say, it's been a very sort of tech-driven business up to this point anyway, Ian. Many people are saying to me that they don't think they'll ever go back to, the idea that everybody needs to be in the office 5 days a week, 9 to 5. It may add to that sort of flexibility and approach in future. Would that be the case with you guys?
Yeah, I'm on the fence on this at the moment. Personally, I like being in the office. I like, seeing people, speaking to people face to face. But we've got several members of staff that have really excelled from working from home. One of the guys I sent an email to about 2 weeks ago saying, "Fantastic what you've done this month. I'm absolutely over the moon with you." And he said, "Told you should have let me work from home a long time ago." And that suits him. He prefers that. Yeah. Again, I think the 9 to 5 role pretty much went a couple of years ago. We have staff who come in at 7 o'clock to finish at 3. We've got staff who pray to come in at 10 o'clock to finish at 6 or 7. So we're quite relaxed with our operational hours as long as the work is getting done. Plus, we have the factories in the Far East, so the time difference in the time zones mean that we have to have flexible working hours effectively. But yeah, I think people are going to have to work from home for the next several months, definitely, especially with the social distancing measures. People can't be crammed into offices the way they have been. We're fortunate we've got quite large office space, so it won't really impact us. We just have to move our office space around. But I think people will be, open to working from home and, frequenting the office less frequently now.
And I suppose the other thing is, given the fact that you guys have probably been doing this for a long time now, as you've mentioned, you've got, officers, contacts, colleagues abroad. Yeah. But, these online calls and Zoom and Teams, all these new, for me, they're new. I'm a Luddite when it comes to technology. But it is going to be a lot easier to say to people in the future, I think, isn't it? If there is a 2-hour, 3-hour journey to get to a meeting, well, can we just do a Zoom call? In the past, I've always felt that people were reluctant to do that. It was almost as if you were trying to snub them in some way. I don't really want to see you. Can we do a Zoom? Whereas now I think it'll be far more naturally. And
Zoom is one thing that really benefited from COVID-19. Everybody does it. How many, quizzes have you been on? Family quizzes, family catch-ups. So I think it's become the norm. I think you touched on it at first. With the Zoom, people don't like showing their faces and having a conversation, but it just becomes natural, second nature. Again, we have to do this all the time with the factory. We'll jump on Zoom call or team meetings, and it's so easy for people to jump on. And I think that technology really is going to advance in the next couple of years, and you'll see more. Our guys in the factory saying that in Singapore, they're looking at technology, which is a 3D hologram image of the person. So you can be in a boardroom or you can be in your office and there'll be 3D images of people you're on the call with. So, they're talking that might be coming out in the next 5 to 10 years or so. So watch this space.
Yeah, frightening.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, I wanted to talk really today about modular housing because this is something that you guys have been working on for a long time now. I know you've got some big projects in the pipeline already. And the first thing I need to say, Ian, is that before I seen one of your modular houses, which you have on site, of course, I was skeptical. I'd heard all the good stuff about, well, it's not the old-fashioned prefab as some of us are old enough to remember. It's a very modern and, of course, environmentally friendly way of developing important housing volumes. So tell us about the product. Tell us about how you guys got into it.
Yeah, so we've been working on the modular now for over 3 years, 3.5 years. And we were looking to bring a product to market, especially in the UK, that, again, broke the mold of prefab. When I think prefab, I think of McDonald's. A McDonald's is put together within 2 weeks. It turns up flat pack and put together. You mentioned prefab, post-war temporary accommodation, which to this day is still standing. But we wanted to try and break the mold of that. And, one thing you touched on is we use the word modular at the moment, so it's space modular, but at the end of the day, it's just a house, it's a home. If you look at our sample home, as you said, you've been in it, it's just like a home. We've just finished a project for Liverpool City Council for foundations. We're due to hand over on the 15th of this month, so next week. And that's 4 3-bedroom semi-detached houses that we've put together. Now, we've done this because we wanted to prove the point that modular it's not here to replace traditional. It's there to accompany it and help build houses effectively. And when I'll have to take you down to the site before we hand over, it's just like walking in a normal traditional build house, block and brick effectively. We took a site which had planning, which we owned, and we converted it to a modular design effectively. So you've got about 30 houses in the street, and we've plonked 4 modular houses on the end of them, but you wouldn't tell them modular, externally and internally. Yeah. So I'll have to bring you down to site to have a little nose then. But that is our thing. We wanted a product which is proven, is tested. So we decided to partner with a company in the Far East who've been established for 25 years. They've built 70,000 units in Australia, Japan, New Zealand, who had a quality product. And that's what we decided to bring to market.
As I was saying, I've been into one of the properties. You wouldn't know that it was any different to a traditional house. And I think that the more people see, the more they will recognise the importance and the value of modular. Yeah. Equally important, of course, in today's climate, forgive the pun, is the impact it has environmentally. They're very environmentally friendly, the products. And so you guys, I think, are going to be inundated with requests from local authorities and others who are looking to create the housing that we need, because there's a massive shortage in the country. Just tell me at the moment, though, how you get that product into the UK and what challenges you may have faced over the last few weeks whilst we've been in lockdown as far as that's been concerned.
Yeah, our factory actually went into shutdown also. So in one of the factories in Malaysia, the complete lockdown, it lasted for about 6 weeks, and we're back open and we've just finished a project off for New Zealand. We didn't have anything else lined up to come into the UK, so it hasn't really impacted us yet. Our next project is, we've got 2 projects lined up. We've got a 42-bedroom apartment scheme in Manchester, in Salford, and we've got a 105-bedroom hotel scheme in Southend-on-Sea, which we're in production at the moment, and they're due to come over within the next 4 months. And they'll come over about 8 units a week that will come over. So it hasn't really impacted us yet. We're hoping we've bypassed it and we've been lucky in terms of timing. But our next step, what we're going to start looking at doing is looking at it at a Liverpool-based Northwest factory. So we're looking at bringing our factory, or one of our factories, from the Far East over into the UK, which will generate local employment, local apprenticeships, and the local supply chain effectively.
And that's important as well, Ian, isn't it? Because we are going to see undoubtedly some job losses, sadly, through the crisis. and I know you've had an ambition for a while now to establish UK-based factories
Yeah,
where you can manufacture the product, and that's starting to be discussed
yeah.
in a.
That was always our goal. We always wanted a UK, but realistically, we couldn't do it. To open a UK factory, you need a couple of £1 million. I haven't got a couple of £1 million. So you need a supply. You need work. You need an order book of work.
Right.
So if we were to open a factory in the UK now, we'd have minimal orders. If we would have ordered it set up 12 months ago, we would have no orders, and you've still got to pay all your overheads. So we decided strategically to start using the factory that we've got. So they produce around 8,000 units per year currently. So when an order comes through, we book our slots in the factory, we place the orders, it comes through, and then we ship them across with Maersk, who's our shipping partner. And it takes 26 days by sea. So it's minimal time to bring the units over. But our goal was always to have a UK facility. Northwest, ideally Liverpool, is where we want to start off. So we're starting to look at that now. We're starting to address it with the goal, hopefully within the next 12 months, having a facility somewhere. Again, we're starting to get the orders coming in now. People are getting a lot more receptive to modular and modern methods of construction. People like the product. We're now on we're being approved to go on a framework, which is brilliant for us, which helps the procurement process a lot easier. And we've got a new, very niche strategy, which means we can bring our own units, our own sites to market with housing associations, local authorities, and we're encouraging to use modern methods of construction. And one of the barriers which we've noticed was people have this mindset that it's prefab, and straight away they say how much cheaper it is than traditional build, and modular or MMC isn't cheaper than traditional build. It's about 20% dearer than traditional build. But we've now got it to where we're pretty much cost neutral. We're about 5 to 10% dearer than traditional. Very shortly we'll be at the same price as traditional build. So when you're comparing product, do we go with modular, do we go with traditional, it should make your decision a lot easier.
The other point that you've made there, Ian, is you're talking about some of the schemes that you've got in the pipeline, and you mentioned hotel.
Yeah.
Now, again, I think when people think of modular housing, they think of temporary buildings. Clearly, that's not the case here. We're talking about a very robust product that is as equally as equally robust as the traditional build. And as I say, you're into the hotel sector now, so clearly it's starting to be seen as a genuine alternative to traditional.
Yeah, well, the thing, our product, the USP on our product is it's hot rolled steel and lightweight aerated concrete panels. So the system itself is non-combustible. Now, if you think of apartment blocks, tower blocks, it's got massive benefits for that. When you look at hotels, it's the perfect model. It's very repetitive, so volumetric. So hotel room is the same, and it's on a production line. So if you've got a 30-bedroom hotel, a 40-bedroom hotel, a 100-bedroom hotel, they're all the same units that just go through the factory effectively. So it's the perfect model. And in terms of quality, we've just published some photographs of a hotel we've just finished in New Zealand, and it's 5-star. It really is fantastic. So you can do anything from your low range to your medium range to your high end. Our supply chain is that vast. You can pick whatever any finish that you want effectively.
Brilliant. Let me just go back to the potential of a factory in the UK. Yeah. What sort of number of jobs, Ian, do you envisage in the factory?
I think what we're looking for, we're still in very early stages and early discussions at the moment, but we're looking to around 200 to 350 jobs to start off with. We're looking to reduce around 350 to 500 houses per year with that. And it'll be semi-automated, but at the end of the day, we still need people to come in and do the jobs, such as the plumbing, the electrics, the tiling, and we still need all them. And then we really want to concentrate on a delivery hub. So we want to create jobs around the installation of these units. So once it comes out the units, you need drivers to deliver them to and from site. You need installation guys to install them. You still need all the groundwork guys to lay the pad stones and the foundations and do the connections. So we really want to concentrate on that side of the business also, the delivery team.
Now, if things would have been in normal times, we'd have been talking about a week in Cannes at the MIP and Property Festival, which was due to take place in March and then was moved back to, I think, last week. I think I think so, yeah. Well, I had tickets on my desk when I went into the office that I've not even opened yet, but I'm pretty sure it was last week, the rescheduled MIP. And of course, Shape Engineering have a big platform there because you sponsor the Liverpool delegation. And just for those who perhaps haven't been or are looking at potentially going in the future, I know that you guys have had an awful lot out of your experiences there. People look at it, don't they? Some people look at this and go, Cannes, south of France, it's usually good weather. Obviously, the vino is pretty decent in France. It's just a bit of a jolly. But actually, it's really helped elevate you in terms of your brand to a different level, hasn't it?
100%. Frank, I was under the same mindset. I was going to the south of France in the sunshine to have a good time. And it done nothing but rain for the first time we went. And it was the busiest, most tiring week of my life. Lisa never come the first year. She had us booked in for breakfast at 8 o'clock, meetings at 9 o'clock, meetings at 10 o'clock, and they go on till, I'm not joking, at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's 5 days straight. You need a holiday after Cannes to recover. The second year we went, we were a lot more strategic with our meetings. Cannes fantastic, MIPN's fantastic. The delegation that we go with, I generally believe it's the best in the UK. There's a real sense of team there. They all want to help each other out. You only get out of it what you put into it, in all honesty. So you can't just go to think, I'm going to get work on the back of this. You've really got to put the efforts in. And one thing I noticed is the first time we went, we were having a lot of meetings with people who were from Liverpool. But in all honesty, you can go to any coffee shop on Castle Street and have a meeting with these people. So the second year we went a little bit further afield. So we started connecting with people in Leeds, Nottingham, Manchester, a lot of people in London who hadn't heard of us or had worked with us, we hadn't had a chance to have meetings with. So that was our aim. This year was the same thing. We had a lot of real important meetings lined up, real good meetings for us, which due to COVID-19 and it didn't happen. But again, it comes back to, we followed these meetings on Zoom. So, but in terms of a platform for Shape, it was brilliant. It really did propel us. It took us, what I believe, to the next level. It got us speaking to people who it would have took us 3, 4, 5 months to have a meeting with in the real world. But once you're out there and you're sitting at a bar or you're sitting in a coffee shop and you exchange business cards or you meet somebody for a meeting, it's a lot more informal, it's a lot more relaxed, and you're speaking to the decision makers at the end of the day, not the gatekeeper. So that was really good for us.
And let's hope by this time in March next year we can revisit and it can get back to some sort of normality. And as you say, I think the Liverpool delegation had a great programme of events this year as well that we're all looking forward to. So some of that will still be relevant, I'm sure, come March 2021. Ian, it's been great speaking to you. And I know that we were saying offline that you're in Liverpool, you live in the city centre. And it was a little bit eerie for the first few weeks, but we're starting to sense some sort of normality coming back into town now.
Yeah, really, as we touched on before, once we announced lockdown for a week, it was really eerie, really scary. I went for a walk around the Albert Dock and there was not a soul. I took some brilliant pictures of how peaceful it was and how calm it was, but generally didn't see a person. The Strand, which is usually gridlocked with cars all day, every day, was so empty. You could stroll across the road with you couldn't see anyone. After a week, I think the construction sector started to get back on site. I think they were only hampered due to supplies, but they were back on site, and you see sites in town starting to continue. After 3 weeks, it got a little bit busier, and we touched on it before. As of today, car parking spaces are getting full, the roads are busier, people are walking about, coffee shops are starting to open to take takeouts. A little ice cream shop my house is back open. So we're starting to get hope back to normal, as whatever normal will be.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed we won't be too far off getting back into the full swing of things. It's been great speaking to you today, Ian.
Likewise, thank you very much.
Yeah. I'll speak to you again very soon.
Definitely. Take care.
Cheers, mate.
You know,